Welcome to this week's show, the One Lane Road Podcast. I am your host, Dustin. We're sitting here with Lucas.
Hello.
And we got
Friend of the show.
Mr. Shane Keith is here for his second appearance, and we're hoping to do you justice this time, my friend.
It's the redemption issue, you know. At least I've got my third mic this time.
Got that microphone this time.
I've got the mic.
Hell, we might even turn that other one on for you if you need.
Yeah, we can put two microphones in front of your face this time.
That'll work.
Got your earplugs in. We're ready to go.
I'm ready to rock.
I'm thinking we're gonna start making everybody wear their headphones in here.
I think it's a good idea. You know, when I seen you guys up at the lake with the headphones, I'm like, man, where's my headphones? You know,
That's right.
But then where's my mic?
All you had was a boat.
Yeah.
All I had was a boat.
An awesome
you know.
boat that somebody run into while we were podcasting.
Oh, it was a good day, but you know, I couldn't believe. You know, I feel honored. You guys haven't loaded up and went anywhere before, have you?
No, we sure haven't.
The lake.
And we haven't since other than down at my house one time for a show.
We went to his house, but that's
What episode was that?
we went for
that was for Blake and
Blake and-
Woolbright.
Oh, is that when they come
Yeah.
down there?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
yeah,
So-
kind of a centralized meeting location.
Well,
I don't think Blake's allowed to be out of Jackson County.
You come to my place first, though,
That's
right?
right.
Okay,
That's
then you
right.
went to DK.
That's right.
All right. Yeah,
That's
I was
right.
glad to have you guys up, man. I was like, you know, that day. It was a great day.
Yeah.
I was
Fun
just,
time.
I was nervous, and I was looking so forward to it. And then, of course, me and Dustin sitting there like cheek to cheek, like we love each other, you know, sharing the same mic.
I
and-
swear I seen one of you kiss the other one on the cheek.
Oh,
Always
my
doing that.
God.
Hey, it wasn't a cheat. You gotta know.
Hello.
Tough guy.
Lips to lips.
And then when I went back and listened to it, I was like, man, if I'd had earplugs, you know, you couldn't really hear me real good in a lot of it. And
He was like, well, when when I was, Dustin.
Yeah.
You know,
These
Yeah,
mics,
yeah,
these
yeah.
mics
Well-
are so directional, and you know that's the other thing that other people that aren't wearing their headphones, you know, they get away from it because they can't hear what they're doing, and then they
Right,
come
right,
back in,
right.
so.
So I brought my earplugs tonight when I stopped down there at Rick's and met Dustin. I hollered, I said, I brought my earplugs. Can I use them? He's like, yeah, we've upgraded. So
That's right.
I was glad to hear it.
We're slowly upgrading this show.
Slowly upgrading.
Yeah.
It's always nice to have loyal listeners kind of reward people that we enjoy talking to in the first place. But, you know.
And reward us by actually wanting to come on.
That's right. That's right. That's,
Yeah.
you know, it's a small thing what we started, and to have the loyal listeners, and we've got several of you that give us feedback, you know, every week, every so many weeks, and so it's cool to be able to have you on every now and then. You know,
Well,
we've
I
had
appreciate it. Well, you guys have come a long way. I mean, you guys started this in May?
April,
First
I believe.
episode?
April, maybe?
Was it
I
April?
believe in April.
Was it April when the first
Well,
episode aired?
It may have been May by the time the first one aired. We probably recorded the first one in April.
The YouTube episode says May, episode 1, if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken, because
The,
I looked at
Let's
it
see.
today.
My baby was born March 25th. You came to the house right after that. We went to get the equipment.
And then, like 2 weeks later, which was still in April, we recorded our first one, but then there was the learning curve of figuring out how to get it online.
Yeah.
So
We-
we had to re-record.
We redid that episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, we laid down episode 2, then we went down and completely redid it because it was so irrelevant by the time it was
Yeah.
actually going to air some of the things that already.
So is episode
happening.
2 actually episode 1?
Actually, no.
No,
The original episode 1, we just put the kibosh on.
Just flew it out.
Threw it out.
Right.
And then the second one was, you know, we were kind of waiting, I think, to release it. Then by the time we actually released it, it was so irrelevant. You know,
Yeah.
the drafted.
Right.
I think we talked about
Yeah.
the draft, or can't remember what all we talked about, but it was just like they just don't make any sense now. Let's
Yeah, let's just throw it away and do another one.
And it kind of sucked because there was some good stuff on it, but all in all, it wasn't worth picking and editing around. And
Well, I didn't know how to do it at that point in time either, so I
Well,
couldn't have done it then.
Yeah. Well, you know, for two country boys from Hermitage Springs, I mean, 5 months now it's been going on?
That's right.
Look at have you guys realized the class of people you guys have had on this show to have a podcast for 5 months?
Oh, that's because
I mean,
this
it's ridiculous.
guy. That's because this guy goes everywhere. He knows everybody.
He knows everybody. I don't understand it.
Everybody asks me all the time, "How do you meet him?" I don't know. That's just Dustin.
Yeah, he bought me
Yeah.
a beer one day and we started talking, and
Yeah.
one thing went to another. You know.
Yeah. Now he's met Dirks Bentley.
I mean,
yeah, and that was thanks to Lisa J and Ben Gore. But I mean, that I really thought Dirks was going to wear a shirt because I took him a shirt that night. And
yeah.
he said, "Well, hey, let's just flash it for the camera. I'll put it on my website." And you underneath his button up that night, it kind of had like a logo.
Yellow
It
can.
looked, and it was actually a Harley shirt that had yellow. But I thought, I said, he's about to come out of the shirt, and the whole 25,000 people here is going to see the One Lane Road podcast
Wouldn't
shirt.
that have been something?
I thought it'd been, but
It'd
it
been
was
cool if he'd put it on.
Oh,
Yeah.
You know.
I believe I took him to a bigger one. I didn't know he was such a little runt. I took
He's a
him,
little guy.
little bitty dude. Yeah.
We're not little fellas, you and I.
No, I looked obese next to him, which I'm probably damn borderline about right
yeah,
now.
that's what it was.
But
He
no,
being there.
it's it is kind of cool looking back, and I think we'll probably sometime have a reflection show, maybe go back and look at some of our favorite.
And just cringe at some of the original
Oh God, there's some cringe, but yeah, I guess just going places. It's just part of going. I never knew the Titans were so accessible over the years as they had been, and that's the majority of what we.
And I think a lot of people don't think that. Like the training camps are open to the public. I didn't know that till I heard that on the podcast.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were open to the public.
Well, it really speaks more so of those people's character than myself, than my ability to get them.
Mm-hmm.
It really speaks of a guy like Mike Keith, who's been the voice of the Titans for, since they came here. He didn't know our show. We could be on here. We could have been talking about killing puppies on here, but he volunteered to come.
How do you go about convincing Mike Keith to do a call-in?
Well,
I mean, did he have a clue what the show was about or the background?
And that's the funny thing. I don't know if these guys research it from between saying yes and actually coming on, but nobody has asked me whatsoever really what it's about. Give you kind of rundown. I seen Mike at an event, and I say, Mike, me and a buddy started a podcast, and he'd seen my face.
Mm-hmm.
I know he didn't really know who it was, but I know he'd seen me.
Right.
And he said, and I just said, we'd like for you to come on. Well, it's called The Office sometime. And I was down at a scrimmage at practice in training camp there, and I said, Mike, you ever going to do my show? He said, well, I told you to call my office. He said, you never did. I said, well, give me the number. I'm calling you tomorrow. We set it up, 2-minute phone call. We text back and forth for a couple days, and that's how that one came about. And like I said, you heard it. It's supposed to have been a 15-minute interview, and one of the biggest staples of the Titans franchise give us 50 minutes.
Oh, yeah, it was a long interview.
Yeah.
It went on forever.
And I could still be talking to that man.
Right. Right.
But some of the other ones, I don't know, just by luck. But like I said, some of these guys just taking a chance and being, good people. And just trying to help us out, I guess, a little bit. Just, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I think it's great. I mean, no longer than you guys have been up and running to have the class of people that you've had on the show.
Yeah, like James Hatcher, Jeremy.
Oh, yeah. Walker.
That's right.
Yeah. Old Walker. Don't leave old Walker out.
That's right.
I thought it was cool and I had to, now, one of them I had to kind of convince was Justin Wells.
Yeah.
Because he does a lot of self-promotion and stuff, and kind of coming from a smaller build-up that he's had. And it took him some convincing. Finally, I was texting him. He was trying to get me to come to a show in Ohio to watch his album release party. And I said, well, I'll come up there when you come on my podcast. He goes, oh, hell, what is it? Finally he just said, okay, I'll be on your show. And, of course, Lucas had fun
editing that guy.
Chopping that one down.
He was such a good interview, though. I mean, it was, Dustin, I had never listened to him very much.
I hadn't either till then.
Until then.
Right.
That's exactly right. And Dustin told me we was going to have him on, so I bought his CD that night. He told me that. I mean, I listened to that thing over and over. For like 3 days of driving back and forth to work, I just listened to that thing over and over. And he was such a good interview and just a humble guy, a nice guy. Great to have him on, for somebody that's doing the damn thing like he is. It's really good.
Right. I don't know about you, Lucas, but I've never really met anybody famous. Have you?
I met one person famous one time when I was on an FFA trip. I just seen your FFA hat there. It literally reminded me of it a while ago. You remember there was Real World or Road Rules. There was maybe, I guess it was Real World. Anyway, they were in New Orleans one year, and there was a Mormon girl on there named Julie, and they called her Mormon Julie on there. Anyway, I was at a FFA convention out in East Tennessee, and I walked down to a gas station from the hotel we were staying at, and I walked in, and I said, there was a girl standing there. I said, wow, you really look like that girl Julie off Real World. She goes, oh, that's cool. It's because I am. And I shook her hand.
Well,
literally the first D-class celebrity I'd ever met in my life, and the only one I've ever met.
I've met one in my life.
Who was it?
Rodney Atkins.
Oh, yeah.
And the funny part about it was he wasn't famous at the time.
Right.
And I went over to put his phone and internet in.
Yeah.
Got a ticket. Rodney Atkins. Who's this guy?
Yeah.
None of the guys knew him. So I go and and putting his stuff in. I look in this bedroom, and it's just full of music equipment. Full.
Yeah.
Of course, dummy me, I asked, "You play music?" And he's like, "Well, yeah, but I like to write songs. I don't like to sing,
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, it was about 6 months later, that song with him and Elijah, plus his famous beginner starter song, what was it?
I just remember
Watching You.
Watching
You comes out, and I'm like, I know that guy, So, me and him, we really and we exchanged cell phone numbers. And funny story right quick, me and Crystal were sitting, and we were talking about this about 3 months ago. We were watching Monday Night Football one night. And Rodney had moved from Baxter to, he lived in Baxter, Tennessee, him and Tammy and Elijah. And he had a stepdaughter. And they had moved to Franklin, just moved to Franklin. And we're sitting there watching the TV. And, of course, I'm on the phone all day long. I get home. The last thing I want to do is talk on the phone. Phone rings, middle of the football game. I'm like, who in the world would be calling me at a time like this? Crystal picks the phone up. She goes, oh, it's Rodney Atkins. I thought I better take that one. I'll take that one, And but me and him were real good friends, and we used to shout at each other every now and then, just hey, what's up? And I guess over time he changed his cell phone number. But I was thinking about that today, and that is the only famous person I can think of ever meeting.
That tops my. I mean, I don't really have anybody that calls me. I mean, I've met him, but
you probably got Shooter's cell phone in your pocket.
No, and I'm disappointed in his manager.
I'm really disappointed in this whole Shooter thing. So many times you've met Shooter.
You don't have his cell phone number?
I don't. It's never really come up.
I'd be like, hey man, here's my number. Shoot me a text.
Yeah.
Sometime.
Well, I wish that I would have done that the last couple times because I'm really disappointed in his manager, who I've only met a couple times now. This newer manager after John passed away, but I did email Shooter's manager about him coming on here. He's like, well, what's your
viewership?
What's your viewership? What's your show about?
Oh, yeah.
Yada, yada, yada. And it's hard for somebody starting off to be like, I just, hey, I wasn't going to lie to him because you can look online pretty much and see the YouTube numbers. They're not just, you're going to overwhelm somebody.
Right.
But, so I told him, I say, we're getting started off. We're here, we're all over the place. We're both big fans of Shooters. We do it justice. Just, allow us the chance to, get 30 minutes out of 20, 30 minutes or something. Never really got a reply back, and it's kind of disappointing being such a loyal fan for so long. And
somebody's kind of hung out with him a few times. Yeah,
and
you should have shot him the One Lane Road podcast intro that Shooter done.
Yeah, and
emailed that to him or something.
Shooter is going to be in Nashville again. Probably, I think it's in December.
Yeah,
I may try to run down, talk to him personally.
Just him. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that would increase our chances a little more, but. Now with the other shows that we've had, I think the first big celebrity I remember mingling with or anything, you're not going to laugh at me, but it was at WrestleMania weekend. Me and Don Asbury had told ourselves for years that, while we grew up watching, whenever it gets close enough, we're going to go watch it. And it come to Atlanta in 2011, so we loaded that up. And at the Sutra Lounge in Atlanta, we partied with X-Pac and the Road Dogg and Kevin Nash.
Really?
I knew it was going to be X-Pac. I just knew it was going to be X-Pac.
I drove X-Pac from the airport.
That's what I was thinking. That's because I know you.
So you rode in the car?
No, he went and got X-Pac from the airport.
And picked him up?
Mark,
really?
Mark that runs the spot.
Yeah.
He does those wrestling shows.
Yeah.
I was in Memphis for the weekend. And he said, I need somebody to pick up X-Pac from the airport. Can you do it? And I said, I'd love it. I mean, I'm coming through.
This guy.
I don't know if I've got time or not. But.
Funny story. I mean, a lot of people don't realize how big of a star X-Pac was in the.
He was huge.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I pick him up, and you have this kind of vision of how the conversation is going to go. He's going to be a cool guy. And
nothing like that.
I pick him up, and he comes kind of dragging his leg along out of the airport, and I said, hey, Sean, I'm Dustin, it's nice meeting you. I said, you doing all right? Yeah, I kind of feel like shit, man. He said, I was in San Antonio, I got hammered last night, and blah, blah, blah. And I said, oh, well, hey, we'll be driving you today. We're about an hour and a half from the show, so, and we, kind of, picked up small talk a little bit on the way, and he was personable enough. But
of course, it's an every week thing for him.
He meets somebody new.
He meets somebody new at every airport.
Yeah, my next driver.
And what's funny, everybody's like, you're taking X-Pac. He's kind of a burnout. He's not in the spotlight. I said, well, yeah, he was only in front of 90,000 people at WrestleMania last weekend.
Yeah.
Of course, he didn't wrestle on it,
right.
but he was friends with the big wig still, so
Yeah.
he was there.
I say him and Triple H still pretty tight. I'd have to imagine.
Yeah. So the funny story was we get him to Cookeville, and I said, hey, man, this will be the last little spot because there won't be much in Sparta if you want to stop off and eat. Yeah, I don't really care, man, whatever you want to do. So I said, well, here's a Waffle House. You wrestlers love Waffle House any time of the day, don't you? He goes, I can tear some Waffle House up. So me and Waylon and Don Asbury sitting at Waffle House.
You had Waylon with you?
Yeah.
Oh, hey.
And with X-Pac at 2:00 in the evening at at Waffle House. Keep going with the story. I don't know what he does. He goes outside for a while, comes back, and he's sleepy by the time he gets to the car. So he sleeps in Don's car from Waffle House to Sparta. He's like, hey, I'm just going to sleep in the car for a little while. Okay, no big deal, man. So the show starts at 7. Meet and greet was to start at 5:00. 4:45, Mark comes out and he goes, hey, DK, go get X-Pac out of the car. So I kind of knock on the window, say, hey, Pac, hey, man, Mark wants you to come on in. What time is it? It's 4:45. Bell time's 7. Screw that. I said, well, you got a meet and greet. He didn't say anything to me about a meet and greet. I said, that's between you guys. Mark comes out. He's like, your contract's null and void. Take his ass back to the airport. I don't need junkies like him here. And I'm like, whoa. And I said, I'm not taking anybody's. Guys, calm down. Mark shoves, kind of gets into it with X-Pac a little bit. X-Pac stumbling around in the back. Mark flies, and that's his last request. He said, you take him back to the airport. And I was like, oh, crap. Well, X-Pac spins around a little bit, and he finally hits him. He goes, where's he at? He opens up the little back door of the place in Sparta there. All the fans are staring at him.
Yeah.
His line's wrapped around the building to meet him. And he's going, where's he at? I grab him, take him back outside, and we're underneath that shelter. I said, dude, you're going to have to calm down. Your fans are in there. I said,
This is crazy.
I said, Mark is just Mark. I said, he's a businessman. He don't care nothing about you. You're going to have to do his meet and greet. He goes, I didn't sign up. I do the damn meet and greet for free for the fans. And I said, all right, come on. I get him, walk him beeline to this other dressing room. I said, you're going to have to calm down, dude. Him and Mark have a heart-to-heart. It works out. He comes back and apologizes to me. He's like, thank you for taking care of me, blah, blah, blah. And he said, got that guy the dick, though.
Oh, Lord.
I've met him several times like that, and we keep up on Twitter sometimes. But
that's crazy. Back in the late 90s, X-Pac, and who was his partner?
Shawn Michaels, and then
he was in DX.
Triple H.
Yeah, DX.
With Road Dogg and Billy Gunn.
Generation DX. I mean, they were like, in the 90s, who missed wrestling on Monday nights? Nobody in America.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Devin Gage were like glued to the TV every Monday, So it really throwed me off guard when you said he was going to Sparta. This has got to be what year?
This was 2 years ago.
Okay.
The thing is, guys, is what people don't realize is these guys don't have to bust their back until they're 60 anymore like a lot of the older guys have been doing. I mean, they're making an absolute killing going to these little small shows. There's guys that WWE, after they had a split here recently, have tried to hire some of these veterans back, and they're turning them down because they can go to the independent scenes. And, I mean, you think it's crazy, but they go to Sparta, and Mark will pay a guy maybe $1,000 and buy his plane ticket. Then you get there and you get 500 fans paying for $10 an autograph. I mean, boys, that's adding up pretty quick.
Yeah.
Just to live off your name from something you did 15, 20 years ago. And that's in Sparta. You go to a Comic-Con somewhere in Nashville, New York City, and these all over the place, they're charging $30, $40, $50 and getting it.
That's like some of these UFC guys that are, I'm not going to say past their prime, but, they're not UFC ready anymore. They'll go over to places like Bellator or Invicta and places like that, and they'll be getting paid a killing, man. I mean, just money that UFC they just can't throw it at them. These guys getting like 16 and 16 or 32 and 32 contracts, and then they'll make multi-million-dollar deals at these other places, know.
So, speaking of UFC, Dustin, you haven't brought up anything about the UFC here lately.
Well,
what about?
It's what we talked about. There's a lot of big stuff happening in UFC right now.
What's
Ronda
coming
Rousey
up in December?
Ronda Rousey's coming up, and I'm real excited. But she's fighting a killer, Amanda Nunes, to come back, and she's getting that title fight. She's going straight after that title fight. Amanda Nunes is.
She's 13-4.
She's nobody to be trifled with either. I mean, she's a killer. I mean, she's a straight killer. High level black belt jiu-jitsu on the ground. But the thing is that she's so aggressive. You know, she's a pusher, push.
I've never watched her.
She pushes. You know, she's real aggressive. She goes after people. She just pushes the pace. That's where you get in trouble with Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey's waiting for you to come at her and come get her, and she's gonna grab you and she's gonna take you for a ride. She's gonna send your ass across the ring. You know, she's gonna throw you. So, you know, it's a good matchup for Ronda. You know, it's not an easy fight for her by any stretch of imagination. Ronda's not bad on the ground. You know, she's a real high level judoka, and she's just a great mixed martial artist, and she's really been working her hands real hard lately. You know, that was a big thing about Ronda. Right. She didn't have any hands because she was working on that judo so hard. But she's in the same camp as she was before, so. You know, maybe everything's going to work out for her, but, you know, that's real exciting. That's one of the monsters coming back,
right.
You know.
Who was the girl that made such a big stink because Ronda went straight up back up to the top in the car?
Oh, I don't know. It was probably Kat Zingano or somebody like that.
That name doesn't...
Misha Tate, Holly Holm.
It might have been... I can't remember who it was, but I guarantee you whoever it is doesn't sell pay-per-views like Ronda Rousey does.
No. I mean, that's the same reason CM Punk come in and got to fight in the UFC. You know, because he sells tickets, and he did. He's the only person to ever sell anywhere near the pay-per-views that somebody like Conor or Ronda Rousey did.
How did he do? I missed that one.
Not very good at all. They brought him in.
Did he get his butt kicked?
Oh, my God. They brought him in, a 19-year-old that never fought in the UFC before, and they fed him to a lion.
Really?
You know what's ironic about CM Punk going straight to the top of that? Me and Don Asbury had a conversation about this on Sunday going to the Titans game, and Don brought it up. It's how ironic it was that Punk spent so much time complaining about WWE part-timers, you know, after he was busting his ass on the road 300 days a year trying to keep the company afloat or keep it, you know, doing well. And Batista came in part-timer that year, you know, 2 years ago or whatever it was, and they put him winning the Royal Rumble and going straight to WrestleMania to headline. And Punk, I mean, just went on diatribes constantly about bitching how he was, you know, working his butt off, staying hurt, working injured, and get these part-timers, 40-year-old, 50-year-old come in and take his spot.
Yeah.
He essentially done the same thing.
Yeah, he kind of done the same thing.
He wasn't at the biggest, but...
He didn't take anybody's spot. Mickey Gall come in, they found Mickey Gall, right? You know, they brought him in just to fight CM Punk. He shouldn't have been in the UFC. But, you know, the kid knew what to do when he got in there. You know, he come in there, he threw some jiu-jitsu all over CM Punk like he'd never seen before.
He didn't know what was coming, did he?
Really didn't.
Yeah.
What I meant by was Punk was going straight to a pay-per-view. He wasn't going to the free show on FS1.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Mickey Gall come in and just tuned him up, and then, you know, Mickey Gall called out, I went blank on his name. Anyway, at the end, you know, he was telling everybody, you know, how not to be so hard on CM Punk. You know, it took a lot of courage and a lot of guts to do that. CM Punk trained UFC or MMA for 2 years. I mean, even Mickey Gall had come in. He'd been training for 7-8 years by this point in time. You know, it wasn't.
I don't know how I missed that. I always watch those.
Yeah.
How I missed that one, I don't know. But I just stumbled across on the internet today about Ronda Rousey coming back in December.
Yeah.
And that shocked me. I thought that, you know, the word had been out, you know, it'd be talked about because that's got to be a big fight, and that'll have to be a big pay-per-view.
Yeah, it'll be a monster pay-per-view just because she's on it. Now, the thing is they had said that she was going to fight at UFC 205, which was in Madison Square Garden. But I don't know if she wasn't ready or if they couldn't get the money right or if they couldn't get it all straightened out, but it just didn't work out. But, you know, her coming back to UFC 207, you know, she's going to main headline that card for sure.
Well, McGregor, he's fighting in the UFC before the one coming up before Ronda, right?
That's right.
And he's fighting Eddie Alvarez. Alvarez.
Yeah.
What are we looking at? What are we looking at there?
That's probably the only fight at that weight class that he's not in a real bad bind for. You know, Connor's just got, you know, lead in his hands. He's real fast. You know, he took on that 170 Nate, you know, and then he come back down to 155. He's not going to fight 145 anymore, which 145 is what he just dominated. Everybody says he just can't get there anymore. That's just he's done with.
Well,
145.
he said that at the last fight, didn't he?
Yeah. I mean, if you look at him now and how good he looks now at 155, and then look back at what he looked like at some 145 stuff, I mean, he looks like a skeleton.
Oh,
He just looks awful. But that 155 weight class is just. I mean, that's a real bunch of just killers in that class, man. I think the easiest fight for him is probably Alvarez, but by no stretch of the imagination is that going to be an easy fight for him. If he makes it through that one, he's going to have a real hard time defending that belt. That's going to be for the belt. But no matter what, everybody's going to watch that. Everybody's going to watch Conor
just
McGregor.
Because of Conor.
Just because of Conor.
Right.
I wish he would have fought Floyd Mayweather. I wish they could have got together and fought. Just because of how big that would have been. The only thing they couldn't get together on was the money. Speculation, obviously. But
that's probably why Shooter won't come on.
For the money, that's right. Mayweather and him, they both thought they were the bigger draw, and so they never could come together on who was getting the most money. But, I mean, you're talking about sticking $25 or $30 million in your pocket. I think I would have just settled for whatever they would have gave me on that point.
Crazy.
But I'm not Conor McGregor.
It's ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
Did
you see what they fined him for throwing the water bottles at
Nate
Diaz?
No, I did not.
Fined him $150,000 and 50 hours of community service in Nevada.
That seems a little excessive.
Yeah,
it seems a little cheap.
Well, if you look
For
back,
throwing a water bottle, though,
I mean, look what the man's got. What's he get per fight? $2 million?
They're saying that's 10% of his purse.
Oh, okay.
That's what they based it on. 10% of his purse.
God, but still throwing a water bottle.
The 10.
I'd have thrown two.
Yeah, well, he did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he threw several.
Yeah, he threw a Monster Energy can and a water bottle and some other stuff.
For each F-bomb, he threw a can. Or a bottle.
They gave when Daniel Cormier and John Jones got into a fight, they fined them both 10% of their purse, but that only equated to $90,000 for John Jones and
That's crazy.
$15,000 for Daniel Cormier.
You find me $90, I'm hurting for the week.
I'm in a bind.
I could buy our lunch or supper tonight if I was lucky. Thank God it's Pay Friday coming up.
Yeah.
Well, we tried to get a fourth microphone here tonight. We had one to.
He listens to us too,
and we do appreciate it. And Lucas saw who we're talking about, folks, is a local legend, Mr. David Paul Scantlin. I don't know how often he listens.
He listens. He we were talking about it Sunday. Whenever I told him, I said, "Man, I'm going on this week." I said, "I'm sure it'd be cool with Dustin and Lucas. You come on with me." He's like,
awesome.
I really don't want to do that. And of course, when I throwed it up to you, Dustin, you're like, "Heck yeah, get him on."
Yeah.
But I mean, Davo is he's a legend. I mean, I'm proud to know him. He's a good friend.
What makes Davo a legend?
He's Davo.
Right.
I mean, I don't know what else to say to you, Dustin. It's Davo.
And I'm getting to know him now. I obviously not growing up in Jackson County, not running around in Jackson County, two different things, but I'm just now really knowing Davo the last 4 or 5 years, and of course he's a slowed down version, I'm sure, of what you grew up with.
Oh yeah.
But the stories I've heard, I mean,
Davo's a good guy. I mean, he does good. I think the world of him, and we play a lot of golf together. Me and Davo do, and we go to Gatlinburg every year on the golf trip, and there's 8 or 10 of us go every year. But Davo, he's one of those guys that no matter what, he's the same guy every time you meet him.
He absolutely is. He's got that. Of course, he's what is he famous for? The cowboy hat with
no lid in it.
With no lid in it, and he's got the hair out and
Margaritaville.
He took me down. I was coming through Gainesboro one day and just kind of had some time to kill and wanted to go down to Bull and Thistle and have me a beverage before I headed on to the house, and I knew Davo would be down for it. And this was early March, and he said we drank a couple drinks there, and he goes, DK, this one's on me, buddy. He said, I didn't buy you no diapers or nothing for the baby. He said, so
that's Davo.
He said, I figure you won't be out and about as much after you have the second one, so I'll take care of this. Another funny story about Davo. One night we were all on the spot. This is probably 3 years ago now, maybe 2, and we're all reliving glory days, and never have been days, and talk about basketball. And it's me, Dave-O, Jeff Johnson, Lloyd Williams, John Godwin. There's several of us there. And I forget what all they said.
Dave-O knows his sports.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That's no doubt.
Yeah.
We always talk old school basketball and stuff. Anyway, we're talking about, well, I could beat you. Well, we could. Well, how about we pick teams, by God, right now? We'll go out here. I said, and they're like, well, I got a key to the elementary school. I said, hell, I got a key to the elementary school. We can make this happen, boys. We'll do it tomorrow if you want to. Of course, everybody just having that big talk. Me and Dusty Smith had this talk at Woolly Bullies a long time ago. We never played at the park the next day. Imagine that. Anyway, so we're picking teams. We're going back and forth. And I got him. Well, I got him. Well, I got DK. I got Godwin. They'll guard each other. And somebody's like, I'll get Richard. Real Richard Hubbard, hangs out with Casey.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody's like,
Richard's
I got
guy.
Richard. He's got to be good. He's black. They say. And I was like, I think he's smart, not athletic,
Yeah.
And they're like, damn, I wasted a pick there, And so we all picked the teams, and we're all saying we're gonna play this game up. Well, it's never happened. And then months later, Dave-O said, DK, I'm going to shut you down. By God. When we play, I'm guarding you. I said, I was your first-round draft pick, Dave-O. He said, well, never mind then. I'm going to kick a ball after you, and you're going to shoot, and I'm going to get the rebound. And so we're still waiting on that game to be played, and I hope one day we can do it,
Dave, he's a friend to everybody. Everybody that knows him, even Crystal, she's like, when he comes up the lake, she's like, Dave-O, and hollering at him. And but Dave, if you're listening, man, I wish you could have come. I know why you couldn't, and but I wish you could have been here with us.
I speak for Lucas, and I think Lucas, you'd love to meet him, as you have a lot of these people that. I'm not going to give Lucas, son, more credit than I can ever bestow upon him. Lucas has went blind into so many of these interviews.
He has. I've noticed that.
Blind as a bat.
Right.
With the old term, you can't bullshit a bullshitter, never means more than Lucas, and some of the guests he knew of as far as football personalities and had watched probably and just forgotten about it. But never to have met Coach Edwards.
Right.
Never to have met Matt Walker. Not even to know Dave-O, but we're welcoming on.
Yeah. John Denton.
Yeah.
Well,
Do you guys know John Denton?
Like I said, we played ball for him.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But now any of these, I'm always like, dude, we got Jim White and we got Mickey Ryan. He's like, awesome.
Who's that?
But like I said, you just kind of put him in a direction, and Lucas makes 10 cents.
He does good.
Makes $100 out of 10 cents or so. He can work his way through anything, and that's on me, because sometimes when we get talking stuff, I can't do it, and I'm a pretty big BSer. Like, we'll talk about something, I'm like, yeah, man, but Lucas can really do it, and I know that he would love to have Dave-O. So if you're listening, Dave-O, if you have to hear this third-handed, the invite's always open to come join us.
So I just got the title of King of the BS.
King of the BS. What about that?
That's actually an honorable
KBS right here.
We need to hang a plaque back here on the wall.
I need to hang something on the wall.
Yeah. A big Budweiser King
banner
or something.
Maybe one that says One Lane Road Podcast. How about that?
Yeah. But I think Dustin, Lucas, I know a lot of these he's come in blind to, but listening to it, being a loyal listener, really, my honest opinion, and I can't remember who it was on here a couple of weeks ago, said since they started listening to you guys, they listen to 4 or 5 different podcasts now.
Yeah.
I can't remember who that was, but they were talking about that, and I do that.
Yeah, James, I think it was.
I think it was James.
Yeah.
But you guys sound as good as them.
Well,
in my opinion,
Yeah.
really.
James said it the other day. James is listening to it. Go.
Yeah, he said he listens to 2 or 3 different type podcasts now, and I've got a car podcast that I listen to about old hot rods, and of course you guys, and there's another one that I listen to that I've got on my phone, but really, I think it sounds great myself.
Well, we appreciate it. We're doing the best we can to be 2 green guys at this. We never really
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. Hey, we're getting kind of over in the middle of the show. Let's take a quick break real quick.
Hi, this is Mike Keith, voice of the Tennessee Titans, and you're listening to the One Lane Road Podcast with Lucas and DK. Go Titans.
All right, we're back from the break.
Mike Keith, Dustin, how in the world do you get, coming from a little town of North Springs and going to school in Hervey Springs, how in the world do you get Mike Keith to open for the One Lane Road podcast?
I sent him a gift basket for about 6 weeks straight.
Oh, my God.
My wife cooked him brownies.
We had banana bread in it.
Yeah. No, we just ran into him, like I was saying earlier before, kind of just staying on him, and that was to get him on the show. But I'd kind of made spoke to him in Cookeville when they come through with the caravan. Just ask him simply, he's like, "Hey, we're starting this podcast. You care to drop about 10-second little promo on us?" And he said, "Yeah, absolutely." And like I said, he didn't know, what we were doing the show about, and which just shows his character, So he done it for us, and we always appreciate Mike Keith and be able to interview him and to interview Bernard Pollard, who was I was lucky enough to be his guest, of course, on his show.
Now, what show was that?
Every year the Titans try to have like a player guest show.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I don't remember if we went over this in earlier episodes or not. Basically, what happened was me and Lindsay were in town surprising Waylon because he got all A's on his report card, and we took him to meet Jarrell Casey. He was down in Franklin. And, of course, he'd met Jake Locker before, Waylon had, but he never met Jarrell Casey, and that was his two favorite players. And they were doing a thing at a some restaurant down there, and we went in, met them, let Waylon get his picture took with them, and I was looking around Twitter. I said, "Hell, Bernard Pollard show's here tonight also." I said, "It's 5 minutes from here. We might as well roll down there." So this just kind of shows you the luck I have had. People's always like saying I've whatever with celebrities,
celebrities.
Yeah,
stalker.
Yeah. This is how much I stalked him. I took my 7-year-old son at the time to meet his two favorite football players because I'm such a jerk like that, such a stalker. And then just went to the little barbecue joint where they was having Bernard's show at, and Dave Amelbosser, I think that's his name, Dave something from Tennessee, and he was like, "Hey, where you guys from?" And I said, "Well, we come from Cookeville, but it's actually 45 minutes outside of Cookeville, so we're a pretty good haul, a couple hours away." He goes, "Wow." He said, "Usually we have a player guest. Tonight we don't have one. We'd love for you to sit in on the trivia segment to be Bernard's partner."
So you didn't ask for this or anything?
No.
He just come up to you.
I said, "Absolutely, man." So I went back and chugged me a beer
Yeah.
to try
get my nerves up.
Get the nerves. And, me and Bernard was cool that night. And actually just take another step farther of how lucky I run into some people sometimes. People don't believe just I run into these people. But we were sitting, Lindsay's like, "Before we leave, I want to go in here to this." She was in a pet store. Want to go in the pet store and get something for, I don't know if she was getting a goldfish for, I don't know. It's one of them deals. Your wives talk, you don't always listen. I just said, "Yeah, that's fine." I was sitting in the parking lot. This big bad Jeep pulls up next to me, and Jackie Battle, who played running back for the Titans at the time, I went, "That's Jackie Battle." I said, "Jackie, what's up, brother?" He goes, "Hey, man," he recognized me from camp and stuff before. He goes, "Hey, how are you doing?" I said,
"Oh, he recognized him, Lucas."
Ain't that crazy?
He recognized him.
Ain't that crazy?
Just some random white guy in a little
well, he acted like he did. I don't know.
Nissan Altima. Yeah.
He didn't say, "Hey, DK" or nothing, but I know I spoke to him several times, and he come up, shook my hand, and Lindsay got back to the car, and I said, "Never guess who just come by the car here," and I spoke to him. I said, "Jackie Battle." I said, "I told you that's who that was, Mama," because he'd seen him in the store after he left.
I'm sure
me.
Waylon would know him.
Yeah. I was like, you got another one coming right behind him here.
Yeah. So I, when we went back to Bernard's show a couple months later, he said, "Oh my God, y'all down here again?" He's like, "Well, you're my guest again." So I got to do twice on Bernard's show. What's even cooler about Bernard is we still, obviously still keep up. I was in Nashville a few weeks ago and texted him and asked. He's like, "What are you doing down here?" And we just kind of texted back and forth a little bit. I tried to get him to come downtown, meet me.
So you just randomly like text him, "Hey, Bernard, what's going on?"
Yeah.
He
don't know anybody famous yet. He's got Bernard Pollard's number, and he texted him.
What does that say for Bernard?
Where's his career at?
Yeah, where's his crew?
No kidding, man. But no, we.
That's pretty cool, though.
He sent me the coolest thing. I was like, "Hey, I'm a sports memorabilia collector." I said, "You never hook me up with anything while I'm on your show." And he's like, "All right." I said, "I'm gonna give you my address. You surprise me." Just kind of joking around.
Right.
And he ended up sending me a jersey. I was like, "You need to fix me a signed jersey."
Mm-hmm.
Signed me a jersey. And he sent me one Pollard jersey. He said, "Dustin, you're the best. Thank you. Whatever, Bernard Pollard."
What was the last year he played?
2014. We just actually had the anniversary when they played the Browns. He tore his Achilles. That was a bad day for the Titans because Jake Locker took a big shot to the head and never really recovered from that. And then Bernard tore his Achilles. He hadn't played in the league
Where
since.
is Jake now?
He's out in Washington State and Ferndale, where he grew up at. living in his how humble of a dude this is. He made $12 million measly dollars,
Dollars.
dollars.
What about it, hay burner?
Yeah, he made $12 million, and he's living in his grandparents' house that his parents lived in.
That's a smart guy, is what that is.
Yeah, he hunts, fishes. He runs. He runs a gym out there.
Yeah,
he's a great guy.
My wife would love him.
I miss Jake Locker so much.
Huh?
But what would you? So did you listen to the Mickey interview the other day?
Yeah, of course, I was on my way home from the lake, and I was listening. Of course, I have to listen to it in sections. Lucas is going to fix my phone for the Lipsum. I've got 2 different Lipsum apps downloaded.
Yeah.
And but anyway, I have to YouTube it. And when I was listening to Mickey talk about the Music City Miracle, of course, I wasn't there. Wasn't one of the 2 million that
claimed they were
there. I don't have a ticket stub on the record. I was not there. I do have the Tennessean from that section. I still have the Tennessean of the Music City Miracle. To hear him talk about the way the fans were coming together that day, man, did that not hit home to you guys?
I thought it was awesome, man.
To hear him talk about people just hugging each other and laying of course, laying in the streets are not good, but he said they were laying everywhere.
The woman's pretty enough, it's all right.
Oh yeah, but I mean that just to be our hometown, our state capital. It really hit home to me and made me feel real good. I mean, it brought cold chills all over me hearing him. And anybody that hasn't listened to the last episode, you guys need to go back and listen to Mickey talk about that day.
Well, something that I really I'd never listened to Mickey Ryan talk before, and something that I really liked about him was just how genuine and how humble Mickey Ryan is. He thanked us for having him on after there, and then he was talking about how amazing it was for for him to be a part of the athletes and the Titans and the town of Nashville, and he's just an awesome guy in general. So I mean, great interview, and then him talking about you're exactly right about giving it cold chills. When he talks about how much it means to him, it just runs cold chills all over you.
He sounded like he was honored to be on the podcast. I mean, I've never met Mickey. I did look him up. I did Google him, and everything, and seen the pictures with Dustin that Dustin made that day at the ball game. But I mean, he seems like a real honest guy and somebody that's just really down to heart, loves this town, and that's what we need. You know, I mean, the Titans have been down for a couple of years, and if you're a true fan, you've never given up, Dustin.
No, that's what makes me mad. It's so hard for me to find tickets now that all these fans are reemerging. Well, guess who was sitting front row last year and
that's not now.
Yeah, that's not now. When I could go down any time the last 2 years with the 5 wins in 2 years.
Yeah.
When everybody else was talking about, well, I don't care about the Titans till they win. I was there through thin and thin.
Crystal cannot stand to watch a ball game with me. I love a good ball game, but I hate to be behind in a ball game.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I want to be winning. I want our team to be winning all the time. And she's like, go to the back porch. Of course, that's where I stays, on the back porch back there on my laptop with in the TV going and everything, and they'll get up and I'll come in, and then the other team will get up. And she's like, go to the back porch, So
that's what Lindsay's already given me the ultimatum a couple times. The Titans will start off battle like, God, Titans still suck. Just quit watching them. Why do you do this to yourself? I was like, I don't know. But I'm sticking with them, and I ultimately really do believe they're on the upswing of some good things with, like we talked about last week with the general manager. I do believe it's coming back to where they're going to be relevant once again, and that's kind of why what we were just talking about off air earlier, how I kind of kicked myself in the butt for when they came here in '99, how I was chasing, being a little love-struck 16, 17-year-old, or watching basketball all the time, or hanging out with my buddies, I didn't really know how accessible they were, and I would love to have met Steve McNair. And I've met pretty much anybody I've ever wanted to meet for the Titans, except for there's probably about a handful of 5 that I haven't met, and obviously Steve won't get to be one of those. Right. But and that's I really regret just not going down there back then. I mean, but Nashville to me at 16, 17 years old, like New York City.
A little scary, right?
I was scared to death of Nashville back then. Now I drive it
all the time,
4 times a month probably.
We had, me and Crystal, we had, for about 4 years, I guess, we had PSLs down there. And this is a true story, my second cousin, her husband owns a big cabinet shop in Nashville.
Uh-huh.
And he got the contract for, what was the original name of the stadium?
Adelphia.
He had the contract on the Adelphia Stadium. He done all the cabinetry work.
Really?
All the cabinets in the locker rooms, the club level, anywhere they had a cabinet, they built the cabinets. And also the Neyland Stadium, too, in Knoxville. He still holds the contract for that, does any cabinetry work. So he had the PSLs in the club level. We didn't actually own the seats. We just bought the tickets off of them, every year, and we would just buy that year's worth of tickets because he had them in all 3 levels. But me and Crystal, we never, ever missed a game. I mean, we parked in the same spot every week at the sit-go, walked across the bridge, got off at the 312, and but
up in those club level seats.
Up in those club level seats, we had to park we parked in the $10 parking. We didn't park in the $15 parking.
They always say that's how rich people keep their money, by being stingy like that. So can't hide that money. Big deep pocket shanky.
Here we go.
Up there in the red seats. That's why every week on TV they're empty because nobody can afford them, except for big high polluting folk.
That's probably they are high.
They are higher now.
My God,
man.
they are high. I mean,
but that $10 parking helped you out though.
Well, that helped a little. I mean, that
about half a beer
or two.
He snuck in a bag of beef jerky in his pocket and
seriously,
whiskey in his boots.
If you go, a true story though, the very first game we went to, I walked up, of course, had never been in the club level in my life, didn't know what to expect. We didn't know what they had. So we walk in, first thing I see in our section, there's a big bar. I'm like, that's me.
Ding, ding, ding,
ding, ding, ding, ding. I'm there. Little girl, she's like, what do you want? Well, like a Jim and Coke. We don't have Jim Beam. I said, what do you got? No, they don't have it. They might now today. But it's been about 4 years.
No, they don't.
Okay, so
they don't have Gentleman Jack. They don't have Kessler, and they don't have.
I tell you what, they do got. They've got Woodford Reserve. The first game we went to, I can't remember the type of whiskey they had, bourbon, but it was some cheap off-brand. I said, is that all you got? She said, yeah. She said, what do you like? And at the time, I was drinking Woodford and Coke because of James Crowder.
Because of big money.
Because of James Crowder. And the very next week, guess what they had? Woodford Reserve. To this day, when you walk in the club level, you can get a Woodford Reserve and Coke.
If you had that,
I'm not bragging,
but stating a fact.
I am stating a fact. They had cheap whiskey until I asked for Woodford Reserve, and still to this day you can get a Woodford Reserve and Coke.
If you had that much pull, you should have told him to draft Aaron Rodgers to Pac-Man Jones.
Exactly. Well,
do not take Pac-Man Jones this year. Please take Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
we're going to need him one day, I promise you.
Why didn't they do that?
I don't know, boy. It sure would be nice to have him right now.
I just read a really interesting excerpt, and I don't mean to get off on the Titans, but there's an excerpt about a guy that, and I wonder how legit it is, because the guy is a pretty self-admitted Bret Hart hater.
Yeah.
I said Bret Hart. Brett Favre.
Oh. You said Bret Hart.
We still in the wrestling era. No, Brett Favre. And he said he was never allowed to really talk bad about him because he was like a god in Green Bay.
Yeah.
So basically, they were trying to push him out a year or two. Then when Aaron Rodgers came along and they drafted him, his stock was, and looking back at it now, how well of a career he's had. And that Alex Smith was taken first overall that year by the 49ers. And Rodgers was projected to be a top 5 pick, and he lasted all the way to Green Bay at like 24.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's always give Brett Favre the flack for kind of talking down and not treating Rodgers well.
Mm-hmm.
They said the very first thing that Aaron Rodgers ever said to Brett Favre when he walked in the in the cafeteria, he said Favre was in there reading the newspaper. He says, "What's up, old man?" They said Favre was already a little insecure about the whole situation.
Yeah.
They've been trying to push him out.
Yeah.
They drafted a quarterback first round, and he comes in and says this. And Rodgers was pushy. Like all these old hands was siding with Favre.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was his boys.
Well, that was their guy.
Right.
Yeah.
He's a god in Green Bay.
Right.
And they said that he was just always pushing. You know, you always hate that kid in school that sits front in the desk right in front of the teachers that raises his hand and answers every question.
Mm-hmm.
They said that's what Rodgers done during film sessions. He would be the nerd always trying to upstage everybody.
Yeah.
They said Donald Driver finally went up to him and said, "Hey, Aaron, we get it. You're smart. Now shut the F up." You know.
Well, at least he has produced. He has lived
Yeah.
up to the name.
Yeah, he has. I still think he'll never, when it's all said and done, if he retires now with this one Super Bowl he's got, and see if he plays 5 more years, never gets another, he'll never be as revered as Brett Favre in Green Bay.
Oh, no.
No, there's
Nobody
no way.
will be.
Nobody will be.
No.
Nobody will get a Wrangler commercial like
No.
Brett Favre did.
Brett Favre
Nobody.
just one of those guys that just with any of us three could go hang out.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
You know,
And that's the way Rodney Atkins was. Me and Rodney, I was telling a story earlier about Rodney. Before I even knew who he was, me and him were sitting on the front porch, talking, sitting there just with Elijah. Elijah was like his little boy that's in the video. He was like 3 years old.
Mm-hmm.
A year later, when he becomes famous, I go back out there and I'm like, Rodney, I didn't know, he said, I didn't want you to know me for what I do.
Right.
I wanted you to know me for who I am.
Right.
And, and I really appreciated that about Rodney.
Yeah.
I mean, he was really a down-to-earth guy. He didn't want to be famous.
Mm-hmm.
Rodney Atkins is one of the guys that he did not want the fame. He didn't want it.
Mm-hmm.
He just wanted the money.
Right.
yeah.
That's all he wanted.
And that was
the
the byproduct
money.
of it. I actually went to school with his stepdaughter.
Did you?
You referenced his stepdaughter
Yeah.
earlier. I went to school with
College?
her. Yeah, I went to college with her, yeah.
I can't think of what her name
I can't
was.
either. I can't remember her name.
I've seen her at Woolly Bully several times.
Yeah, I had
but,
3 or 4 classes with her. I can't remember her name right now.
Another funny story about that Favre thing before we get off of it. This writer said, I always heard about his drunken stories and his infidelities. He's like, but we didn't ever talk about Brett Favre's drinking and his cheating. Mm-hmm. Because he was Brett Favre. They said, we always covered up the golden boy. They said, but Aaron Rodgers always was just giving him the business the whole time, Says, so they're in the meeting room, quarterback room one morning. He goes, hey, Brett, what'd you make on the Wonderlic? Because they said Rodgers always brag about he made a 35 on the Wonderlic test that all players before the draft have to take. And which is just a dumbass test. I mean,
that's probably a brain buster, ain't it?
Yeah, but he made a 35 on it. He was always the first person to tell you he made a 35. And he said, well, Brett, what'd you make on it?
Uh-huh.
And Brett's like, hell, I don't know. I don't remember what I made. And he said, I do. I looked it up. You made a 22.
Oh, Lord.
Threw him under the bus right there. And they said that Favre went off the room mumbling, said, effing Wonderlic. He said, I can run circles around his ass, And so that always put tension. So, the heat's always kind of been on Brett.
Right.
For the way he kind of didn't help out Aaron. But kind of looking at this article, you can kind of see
why he didn't help him out.
why he didn't help him out,
Yeah,
I'm
probably
a Brett.
hung him out the drive a few times.
I'm a Brett Favre
I'm
fan.
a Favre
man.
fan.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like
I mean,
Green
if you're
Bay,
not-
but I'm a Favre fan.
You're not a Favre fan. You're not American.
He's the coolest
Probably
guy in
part
the
of
room.
ISIS. Yeah.
Anywhere. Yeah, you should go to ISIS if you don't like Brett Favre.
Well, I owe you guys a big apology.
What happened?
Acoustic in the park.
Oh, yeah. You was absent for that.
I was absent for that.
Noticeably absent.
I had that.
Good reason?
Very good reason.
Oh, yeah?
I couldn't drive.
Oh, yeah? Why not?
I had it bookmarked on my phone. You know how you
Yeah.
can do the calendar
Yeah.
and put in an event and save
Yeah.
it, and it notifies you. Well, I did that.
Mhm.
I'm like, I'm not missing that. I'm supporting these guys.
Yeah?
Did you break your leg or something? You couldn't drive?
Cut off both hands?
Well, you could be. I don't know what happened.
Uh-huh.
To be honest with you, I don't know what happened that day.
The lake happened.
Seriously,
didn't it?
yes, that's it. That's it. No, seriously, about I think it was about 6 o'clock that afternoon. We were getting ready. We call it the beer joint, the pavilion up there. It's not
Yeah.
a beer joint, but that's the nickname down on the dock is the beer joint. And They were playing music that night, and I looked at Crystal, and I'm like, oh, my God. I texted you that day and apologized, Dustin, I believe. I'm pretty sure I did. I think I can go back and look on my phone.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, my God, I am so sorry. And I really did mean to come that day, and that's one thing I wanted to – I mean, I really apologize for missing that because you guys y'all went to the extra effort to come to me.
Yeah. Yeah,
I should have come to Hermitage Springs.
We appreciate the sentiment, but
it was a big day.
Yeah.
It was big for you guys, and it was a really big thing that y'all – I mean, that was a big deal to put together, and y'all had the podcast, what, 3 months at the time?
Oh, maybe.
To kind of put this in perspective of where you were at with I had aunts and uncles that said, I'm sorry I missed your wedding, but, I was on the lake and just couldn't. So yeah. I think you're all right. If I got aunts and uncles that missed my wedding because they were on the lake, I understand this, but hey, we appreciate it, and we hope to do another one of those. And I don't know who was playing, just to kind of give you a little shot though. I don't know who was playing at the dock at night. But I don't know.
They wasn't as good.
I don't know if they were Chris and Brad Raines and the saxophone player. They wasn't Ryan Hammer, Dan Joe. They wasn't Travis. They wasn't Lindsey. Wasn't Barry.
And I wish the audio had been good where you guys could,
Oh yeah.
What happened with that? Was it just too loud in the background or something?
It was. The whole thing was way too loud.
Was it?
We'd never recorded out live
in
like
public.
that before in public.
We never done in public.
You couldn't hear anything we were saying that made any sense.
And that was some good stuff too, man. We had a lot of good
stuff. We had a lot of good stuff, and I've still got it, but you just can't.
So have you reproduced it to learn from your mistake?
No, I know exactly what happened is the microphone that you're literally on right now was facing the stage.
Right.
Had we cut it off and all the other ones, we just recorded off the other ones, it wouldn't have been near as bad for it. It was kind of getting that directional stuff off of it. So if we would have moved away and then cut that mic off that side, we'd have been in good shape.
So while a band was playing, you guys were interviewing somebody that had just come off the stage.
Well, no, what happened?
Brad was playing
Chris
music.
Chris and Brad were warming up, making sure all the sound sounded good.
Mm-hmm.
It was just they were sound checking.
Right.
So what we would do if Mike DeMeza was coming by, hey Mike, come on.
Yeah,
and we'd grab the mic, give him a 5-minute interview. Then they were still sound checking. We'd interview Travis or whoever. Ryan Hammer was over there, and we just was interviewing people.
And you wasn't going back and listening to it.
Well, yeah, right. At that point in time, we was just rolling.
Everything's wide open.
We rolled for about probably an hour and 10 minutes or so, like that.
Between setting up and getting donation booth going and getting all this stuff, and worrying about who was going to show up, and that was a lot of my worries. Was what kind of crowd
we going to have anybody?
Y'all had a good crowd though, right?
We did. We probably wound up having about 200 or so rolling.
One thing I do wish though that I don't like about that setup is the people are actually so far from the stage.
That's right. They are pretty far from the stage.
I don't like that.
We talked about maybe doing it someplace else next time. That was a really good first go around. It's set up really for people to bring their lawn chairs and
right.
You come up around the stage a little bit
and nobody made that first. Nobody really made that first jump to go up there.
Right.
I think Patty was pretty close because her husband and stepdaughter played.
And I think she'd been down there before probably too and probably knew it.
Well, it's amazing 200 people knew how to get to Hermitage Springs.
Well, they were all springers. We cleared everything out.
I guarantee that.
Yeah.
But, that we learned from that. But that is one thing I noticed being up on stage talking to the crowd. You feel like you're talking to them from Hermitage Springs to Salina. They were
right.
They felt like they were so far away. And I just felt like the crowd – when the people got done singing, it was just kind of like a smattering.
Yeah,
everybody was so kind of bashful.
Nobody had ever done anything like that in Hermitage Springs. Well, in a long time. They do it at 4th of July, and really, the applause would have been a lot better had they been closer too. You'd have felt a lot more like you should have been clapping. Should have been they should have been hearing you, but you were. It was kind of a disconnected feeling, the distance, and we were away from it. But
is it a pavilion type area that they built close to the?
Well, what it is down. Because
I know Hermitage Springs, but I can't picture where it's at.
Well, it's kind of hid down there. If you're going through the middle of town, there's a big old. There's Gary and Vita's little.
Used to be
grocery store. Yeah, used to be Dot and Dale's, and then there's a really old building right there, and behind that building there is the pavilion.
Oh, okay.
And then probably. 50, 75 yards in front of the pavilion is the stage that they built.
They've got they've got playground equipment. They've got a fat track where everybody walks around.
Yeah.
All right.
So called.
So they built all that since I hadn't been over in Hermitage Springs since probably 2006, something like that. Me and Papa used to go over there on Sundays and eat breakfast when me and Devin would come out of the woods hunting. We'd go over there to the store and eat.
Yeah.
Chocolate gravy and biscuit.
Yeah.
Cool. He said. That's the backstory. I know we kind of give it on the first podcast with episode 10 with Shane, but his papa, he's saying David Lloyd Keith lived with my grandmother, for years and years. They never got married, but
Granny Janice.
Yeah, he was. That was like a grandpa to me because I never really knew my mom's dad. He died when I was young, so really I had David Lloyd and of course Barry Kennedy, my actual grandfather. But man, I tell you, me and DL, we would be glued. If he come to the house and say we'd have Thanksgiving, you better believe everybody better leave us the hell alone. We was watching the NBA game. We was watching the NFL game. He said he'd get up and say, "Well, wait, what's everybody watching on this TV?" I said, "Hey, we watch whenever you watching, DL." He said, "Turn over on the ball game while they're gone. They'll be in another room. Turn over on the ball game." And all my Shaq obsession, I think I told this on the other episode. I'm not sure, but my Shaq obsession comes strictly 150% from David Lloyd Keith.
Big Shaq fan.
This couldn't come at a perfect time, Lucas.
Yeah.
This is a perfect moment.
Yeah.
God.
I can't believe how perfect of a moment this is. Of course, as far as grandsons go, I'm the only grandson that David Lloyd had. But I guess Lucas was definitely the closest other grandson that
DK, you meant.
Yeah, DK.
Yeah.
I was looking at Lucas when I said that. But DK, was probably the closest other grandson that my grandpa had. And I wasn't real big in sports. I'll be honest with you. I mean, you guys are really educated in sports when it comes to sports. I know the big guys, but when it comes to the statistics and stuff like that, I mean, I just don't keep up with it. And Papa was really, really into basketball. Was really big. Shaq was, I think he told Dustin, if you're going to pull for a guy, pull for Shaq, didn't he?
I just got through watching the 93 finals. I was 9 years old with him and Granny. The Suns versus the Bulls, and Bulls had the first three-peat. Okay, long story short, Jordan retires after that finals right before the season, which was Shaq's rookie year. We're at the flea market in Lebanon. They collected ball cards. David Lloyd said, I was just trying to kind of inquire, and I bought me a Michael Jordan card or two. Her mama had bought it for me. He said, "Son, if you're going to root for a player," he said, "this is the player you need to root for." He said, "He was just a rookie of the year. We ain't never seen nothing like him. He broke backboards." He said,
ripped down goals and everything.
He said, that's who you need to root for. And I bought my very first rookie card that day. Never will forget which card it was. Top Stadium Club, pulling down a rebound. Remember it to this day. And after that, I had the Orlando jersey, had the Orlando shorts. I was throwing in Waylon fits that Waylon throws now when he watches games. Me and him we'd watch the Bulls together. We'd watch the Magic. I remember when wrestling, he had the legal satellite up there and he didn't even have sound on it. I'd go up there and watch wrestling with no sound with David Lloyd for 3 hours. He didn't say a word.
Yeah.
Let a kid come ask me to watch something for 3 hours with no sound on it. That's how good of a fella David Lloyd was.
Well, when Papa he passed away in 2007, of course I went up there at your granny's and was going through all his stuff and loading it up and cleaning everything out, and I run across some stuff, and I've had this put in the fire safe since 2007.
Just pulled it.
I don't know if it's worth $50, 50 cents, or 5,000, but it meant something to Papa because he had it put in that case.
Yeah, that's one of his early cards.
And it may not be worth 2 cents.
I don't know.
But it was important to him because the way he had it put up.
Yeah.
And it's a Shaq card, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a Shaquille O'Neal card. It's a Fleer 93-94 card in his Orlando Magic. And boy, that's a skinny Shaq right there.
Him and Granny tickle me to death.
I want to give that to you.
Well,
I've had that in the safe ever since 2007.
Well,
and I want to.
I appreciate.
I want to give that to you.
I'm gonna read y'all off Shaq's statistics off the back of this. Born 3/6/72, Newark, New Jersey, height 7'1", weight 301 pounds at this point in time. This is in 1992, and this looks like his body looks like a young LeBron James here.
He was, boys, I'm telling you, 40.
What was his rookie year? 92?
92, 93. It's a 93.
That's 93, 94 there.
I tell you, I can read it. I could read every stat on that card without
looking at it.
Hey, test me on this. Test me on them stats. Put your
yeah. So
can you see the stat? Here you go.
Oh, I got it.
Points per game. 90. Is it say 92, 93?
Yeah, 92.
Points per game.
92, 93 points per game.
23.9.
Nope, you was off by.
It's 29 point something, isn't it?
No, it was 0.3%.
Oh.
23 point what?
4.
23.4.
Yeah.
Rebounds 13.9.
I think you're
No,
blind.
19.9.
No, he didn't average 19 rebounds a game.
Rebounds, assists for 48 minutes.
Oh, they're looking for 48 minutes. Rebounds were not 19 a game. That's like Dennis Rodman, Wilt Chamberlain numbers. I'm telling you, I think it was 13.9 rebounds.
They ain't got that stat on there. So they've got games 81, field goal percentage .562, free throw percentage.
Shitty.
Probably his best. Probably his best ever.
59.
Probably the best ever. Yeah.
Yeah, 59. Rebounds 1,122.
So they just have the total
Yeah,
rebound. They
they've
don't
got
have the
the total
average.
on there.
Yeah.
Assists 152.
Well, basically, as a rookie, he averaged 24 points, 14 rebounds, and 4 blocks as a rookie.
Yeah, talk about somebody who played 81 games and had 286 blocks.
Yeah.
That cat was on fire.
He was he was a man amongst boys back then. That card, I don't care if it's worth 2 cents. Knowing it was his, and then you give it to me, it makes it mean a lot more to me, and it's going to go in my stash, and I really appreciate it.
Well, I knew.
That's cool.
I was hoping you would, and I knew you would, but I've had that in the. Of course, I've got a bunch of his basketball cards, and I'd love for you guys to go through them. I don't know anything about them, but that is the only card out of probably 500 he had that was in that clear plastic case.
Mm-hmm.
So me telling that story, that that he meant that when he was telling me that at the flea market, he really thought.
Yeah.
Yes, he really thought Shaq was the deal,
and he was.
And he was the deal.
He bridged that gap between the Jordan era and what became like the Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson, Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter guys, Tim Duncan. Shaq was the bridge. He bridged that gap right there. So, hey, I'll tell you something funny. Hell, on his grandpa, my favorite story. When Ridge Runners opened. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
Well, this is a 2-part story. When Ridge Runners opened, of course, I was a pretty big regular at 21 years old, of the Ridge Runners.
Ridge Runners.
Of course, back then, now if I look back at it, boy, I'd be there spending all the time in the world with DL and my mama family. But when you're 21, son, you got things on your mind.
Oh, yeah.
And I was up there catting around, and he goes, oh, you've been up there at the boo-blue. He said, you're going to the boo-blue. And then when the story, he would always say that, and I said, yeah, you going to go with me? I said, Granny, we're leaving. Me and DL's going up here to the Ridge Runner. He goes, oh, Janice, we'll be back. And he said, don't say that, you'll get me in trouble. He'd go back and forth, he'd change his story. But now when Lynn's Market was still open, when Jeff and Linda run it down there, and DL would go up there and see it.
Oh, yeah.
And Granny get madder than hell.
What's
he got to do? Hey, ain't no sense in him being up at that store all hours of the day like that. hey. And I said, Granny, it's a half a mile from your house.
Right.
I said, I believe he's all right. He's sitting up there with a bunch of old men.
He was a cat daddy now.
Yeah.
He was a cat daddy.
Yeah, he was.
He was a good guy. I mean, these, of course, wasn't a lot. Probably nobody listening to us knew him, but he was like everybody's grandpa. He was your hero,
right?
Whose grandpa wasn't their hero?
Hell, I'm living in my grandpa's house now.
Exactly. I mean, he was the greatest man ever, right, Lucas?
Oh yeah.
So when Granny would do that, I would see him. He'd be up there at Bobby Cherry's sometimes. I remember one in particular, and he talked about that to the day he died. And actually, when y'all put that in his casket, a little card, everybody was dropping stuff, mementos in his casket there in that drawer or whatever. Mm-hmm. I wrote in his card, I put, you better get home. She always say, he better get home. I remember one day passing up by Bobby Cherry, he was sitting out there in a chair with Bobby, and I hollered, I said, hey, old man, you better get home. And he laughed about that until he, like I said, till he passed away. And boy, I miss the hell out of him. I do. Mm-hmm. And he'd play rook with you, and he'd be scared. He'd have that scared rook or something, and he'd have to play, and then all of a sudden say somebody lay down a black one or red one to kind of save him, make him feel, say if
like you wasn't gonna lose it.
Yeah, and he go, go, you can't
play without a player.
You can't play without a partner. They say. I love the hell out of him, man.
Yeah. Everybody screws up in life. Who hasn't screwed up?
Yeah.
But Papa, he tried his best to redeem himself, and he done what he could do, and
right.
It is what it is. But I was very proud of him. I was there with him to the end, and I'm glad he had you.
Well,
because I a lot of times I wasn't there, and you were to fill the gap.
Well, like you said, everything happens for a reason. If they don't end up getting together and do it like they did, he said, I wouldn't have had that part of my life, and I wouldn't have known you guys. And I was honored to be, asked to be a pallbearer there at that funeral. That was.
You might not have started that Shaq obsession either.
Exactly.
Imagine if I'd have been a Christian Leitner fan, how bad my life would have sucked for the last 25 years.
Imagine if
you wouldn't even like basketball now.
That's a good point, Lucas.
Yeah.
If they had never went to the flea market that day,
he'd have never liked Shaq.
He would have never had liked Shaq.
I may have never. I'd maybe still be playing with my wrestling figures or something. He got me out of that.
You still are playing your wrestling figures.
When Waylon's not home.
Well, what about a baby update, Lucas?
Ooh, 4 weeks and.
Let's have a baby update.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. 4 weeks and 3 days, and we're gonna have a baby on the ground.
Do we know what it is?
Little boy.
You've done
Camden, Eugene.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, we've been doing baby classes.
I knew it was a boy, but I didn't know if you'd named him.
Yeah,
or not.
Camden, Eugene.
Camden, Eugene.
Yeah, we've been doing baby classes every Monday night for the last 3 Mondays.
How's that going? Are you wearing the fake boobs and the belly and all that stuff?
Well, I'm wearing the real boobs and the real belly whenever I go in. It's pretty good. That first night, they sure showed us 3 women giving birth. That was they didn't waste any time on that, and they. We did some of that frou-frou stuff, listen to this and, pretend you're somewhere else that calming music and stuff like that. We ain't got into the hee-hee-hoo breathing yet, but, it's pretty neat. You for sure learned some stuff you wasn't ready for.
Yeah. Did you go through that, Dustin, with Lindsay, the first one with Waylon? Did you go to the baby classes?
No, I've never even, no.
Really?
Mm-mm.
Me and Crystal went, of course.
I think they're trained from age 7 to have babies in Salinas. They know what's going on.
Maybe a little bit older than 7, but me and Crystal went, and it wasn't nothing like it is now. But of course, we went when she was pregnant with Devin. But now I think they've got they want the man to experience the whole pregnancy.
Well, they said if your wife has to have a C-section for some reason and skin-to-skin contact's the most important thing. The man's supposed to take his shirt off and do skin-to-skin contact.
Really?
Kara said, hey, if I have to have an emergency C-section, you got to do that skin-to-skin contact. I said, nah, we'll just wait until you get back awake, honey.
If you want a man to experience pregnancy, get a kidney stone.
That's what I all heard, yeah.
Yeah, I've had them, and let me tell you, they're not fun.
Yeah, no, it's fun, man. We're 4 weeks, 3 days, and super excited, man. Ready to get that kid on the ground, yeah.
I'm happy for you.
We've got the... baby's room ready.
That's awesome because ours is 7 months old and his room ain't ready. He's still sleeping in a plate bin next to us.
In the floor, probably.
Yeah.
He don't sleep much. And I don't, you know what? People are like, Lindsay's always saying, he don't wake up in the middle of the night with the baby, and she's always ready to be like the first person to dog me about it.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous.
What are you going to do with him?
Well, I do wake up. I don't wake up when he's crying because I can sleep through anything. You know when I wake up?
When?
When my wife says, I don't get no damn help around this house with this baby in the middle of the night. Then I wake up. That's when I wake up. And I'm like, well,
I mean, if she's breastfeeding, what are you supposed to do?
Well, she's not.
Oh,
well that's over.
I'm just nice.
Yeah.
Avery, he's 15 months now. Mine and Crystal's grandboy, and Lord, of course, we get to keep him every other week.
Right.
And I was so worried, no more than I get to see him, if he would, finally get to know who we were.
Yeah.
Of course, that's definitely not an issue. But, man, I tell you what, I love my children.
Yeah.
But, my gosh, Bo Avery is like,
he's ready.
It's the best.
Yeah.
I'm telling you now.
You had spoiled him and sent him home now.
I'm just 45 years old. I'm a young grandpa, but it's the best. I love it. I love it.
Repay that boy for all that
Exactly.
hell he raised on you.
Like that old Rodney Atkins song, "He's Mine." You heard it, hadn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good tune.
yeah.
That's
What
good.
else you got? What
about the SEC predictions? What you guys got for the SEC championship?
Alabama.
I think Alabama's
Going to play Alabama.
Who are they going to play? Alabama?
Alabama's going to play
Alabama?
And they're going to win.
Alabama's just a grown group of big ass men.
Oh my God,
That's like Alabama's like a cheat code you put in on PlayStation.
they just trounced.
I tell you what,
up,
Shane.
up, down, down, left, right, BA start.
Alabama.
Honestly, I don't know that it won't be Florida now just because Tennessee is so injury
Florida's
got
to lose.
Yeah, they've
got to lose somewhere. They've
I
got
hope,
to.
Look, I hope so, but boy, Tennessee's they've just took a real shot in the confidence level and the shot in the nuts.
They took some shots all around.
They got destroyed.
Dismissed one player and two other injuries on top of that, and then absolutely that Texas A&M that was a hard loss, but boy, Alabama absolutely trounced them.
There's so many injuries on their defense. On the defensive side of the ball. It's easy for me to say. It's going to be hard to overcome those injuries.
I think Butch just has thrown in all the chips and says, last week playing Alabama, of course, we had 7 starters out.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous.
I think he just throwed in the chips, said it is what it is. If we're going to lose to a team, lose to Alabama, get it over with, win the rest of them, hope Florida loses.
Injuries are getting so bad up on the hill in Knoxville. I seen Barnes, the basketball coach, on the zone today, and he was his arm was broke, or hand was broke, or something. Hell, he's in
Everybody's falling off the hill in Knoxville.
I tell you, of course,
they're going to be in the body farm before long, ain't they? The body farm, Lucas.
Yeah. Sure do.
It's
just right across the river.
Yeah.
It sucks because there was so much potential there and so much excitement for Vols fans and.
Hopefully, if everybody gets back healthy again, maybe they can pull it back together, But what kills me is that second half, just playing the second half.
You can't play the second half. You've got to play the whole game.
If you're going to play one half, it's got to be the second. But, man, if they sure would play a whole game like they play the second half, they'd be hard to beat.
The nerves would be so much easier.
Well, they'd have one win or one loss right now.
Yeah.
Because they would have beat A&M.
Yeah.
They should have won that game.
You got seven turnovers.
I still don't know if they would have beat Alabama, though.
They would.
Oh, no. They would know. There's no way. Not with 7 starters out. There's no way. There's no way.
But I do hope it's Tennessee versus Alabama in Atlanta, the SEC championship.
Wouldn't that be something?
It's possible.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know it's getting long in the tooth, but the other day, Lucas,
hey, we're here as long as you got it. Yeah. How much paper's left on that thing?
I've got 2 more little things here, but
go for it.
I didn't want to bring the paper up.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we all got notes on this show.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Lord.
Uh-huh.
Dustin stood us up the other day. Devin bought him a new Kawasaki Viking.
Yeah.
We're all going to go riding down in North Springs, so. Man, I walked those hills my whole entire life. Mm-hmm. But let me tell you, when they log somewhere, you can forget it.
Changes the whole look of
it. It is over.
Yeah.
You don't know where you're at.
I've rode them hills and hollers for years and years on 4-wheelers, man, and every time you go in there, it's just completely different.
So we've been out riding for 2 or 3 hours, and Adam Jones and Travis Fox is with us, and Foxy, he's about out of gas, and we're trying to come out North Fork, where I used to live up in there, and I'm like, I know the way, just follow my ass and shut up.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Here we come up to this gate, big old beautiful field.
Mm-hmm.
Devin's like, we're at the Zeke Fields. I'm like, no shit, Sherlock.
Yeah.
Of course, there's a big block on it, and they're like, what are we going to do? I said, hell, shoot the son of a gun.
Uh-huh.
Of course, you hear click, click, click. All 3 of them's got a gun, and I'm like, no. Rick will be up here in 10 minutes and kill us all, over a $10 lock, But, man, that's a beautiful place up there, ain't it?
I went up there
if you was a millionaire, would you build a house up there?
God.
What would it cost to put electric and water up there?
Actually, it's funny you said that because just yesterday evening I got home pretty early from after work, and Lindsay said, let's ride the Rhino back up in there. So, and she took a picture on Snapchat and said, oh, what I would love to have a house up in here, and it would be just absolutely beautiful.
God.
But God Almighty, electric, water,
Yeah.
just,
Oh,
and how in the hell people get to your house anyway? I mean, of course, there's the entrance from Crabtree Creek and out there on the ridge, but
You'd have quick access to Domers.
yeah, which hey,
You could ride a Rhino to Domers and back.
I ride on Domers right now anyway. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody that matters, police wise, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love it back there, man. It's funny because if you'd have called me that day, I wouldn't have had a key. I don't have a key to any of them gates back there.
Oh, you don't?
I don't even know if Daddy does. I imagine he does.
Well, I wish we'd shot it off now because we had to come all the way back down Crabtree Creek is what they call it. 911
These
Crabtree
days,
Creek.
yeah.
These days they call it Crabtree Creek. But we had to turn around, come all the way back out. I mean, I could have found my way back out North Fork, but
Yeah.
Foxy was out of gas.
I was really disappointed. Well, actually, I didn't stand you up because when I talked to Jones,
I know you didn't. I was just giving you a hard
I know.
time.
But when Jones asked me, he's like, "Oh boy, what you got to do tomorrow?" And I said, "Well, I got to watch the ball game."
mm-hmm.
And he said, "What do you mean you got to watch the ball game?" And I said, "Son, this Titans season's that's a pretty big deal
Pretty
for me.
serious right
it's only
now.
16 weeks out of the year. You got to." He said, "Oh boy, you can record that. You can watch it with us." I said, "I know." Went over to Brad and Becky's that night. Brad said, "Hey, what you doing tomorrow, cowboy?" And I said, "Nothing." He said, "Go to the lake with us." I said, "I'm too damn fat, too pale to
Oh,
be."
so you went to the lake.
I didn't even want to.
But he did.
But listen, they had to work on me for 3 hours. I said,
See that bruise on his arm, Lucas?
Yeah.
I said, I done told them boys. Well, I just thought it was Jones. I had no idea that you or Fox was coming. I thought it was him and
There
Devin.
was a crowd of us for it
Yeah,
was
that's
over.
what I heard that
Yeah.
after the fact. But I just told them, I said, I can't miss the ball game. So I went to Brad and Becky's, and Brad's like, "Oh man, let's go." Then Becky's like, "You can record the ball game. This is not 1999. You can record ball games, watch it anytime. This is probably the last weekend of good weather. God forbid these 90-degree Sundays we've had
Yeah.
ever since."
Record-breaking days.
Yeah. But I went to the lake and had a good time. You can't have a bad time with Brad and Becky.
Yeah, well, it'd be a hard time to have a bad time with Brad. Hey, he's talking about four-wheelers. Right there before you get to, I guess it's after you pass Dustin's house, right there on the left where that sawmill's at, and you go across the field in the sawmill and you go up the hill over there.
Yeah.
On Crabtree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
down there in Crabtree.
On Crabtree.
we were sitting there. I don't remember who I was riding with. I mean, it was a list of us, probably 30 four-wheelers in there, and we were sitting there, and I always rode a racing style four-wheeler, and so we was just kind of sitting there, and everybody on these utilities was climbing this hill, and it was back before razors and everything. Tommy Cherry comes out of nowhere. He didn't leave with us. I don't know where he come from. So
Out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. There was about probably 15 of us sitting at the bottom of the hill waiting for other people to climb the hill, so if anybody wrecked, you didn't get run over. Tommy comes through the middle of the field, passes all 15 of us that are sitting there, passes the guy that's took off trying to go up the hill on a utility, and just climbs this hill and passes another guy on the hill. It's one of the funniest things ever up to that point, just because he come out of nowhere. And then we got to a great big mud hole up there later on, and he goes, he decided he said, "Just hit it, boys," and he takes off through there and piles through this mud hole that's probably, 45 foot long, 20 foot wide. You couldn't get around. You just have to go through. So he decides to just barrel off through it, and when he gets to it, his four-wheeler sucks up in the mud, flips him sideways, throws him head first off in this mud hole right there in the middle of the trail.
There's some big mud holes up in
there's
there,
some
man.
monsters.
They're monsters.
It was a good time up in there.
I got stuck in Pine Lick 2 Sundays ago.
On the Rhino?
Where at?
Down there in Pine Lick on where everybody plays in the mud.
Yeah.
I
At
was
the
just-
watershed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what I'd done. Lindsay had made a bigger deal than what she probably should have of me just riding the Rhino down the road.
Uh-huh.
So I ride the Rhino just for a few minutes. I go up in Zeke Fields and kind of just kick back. It was
Where you done the selfie?
no, I didn't take a selfie. Oh,
Yeah,
no.
You done a selfie in the Zeke field the other day.
Selfie taker.
Yeah,
No,
selfie taker.
I didn't take a selfie.
Yeah, it's on Facebook.
My wife did.
Oh, okay.
That was
All right.
yesterday. This is the day we didn't get along.
Oh, okay.
This was 2 weeks ago. No, she said she didn't want me to go ride the Rhino before the game. I said, I'm just going to go up and ride up in the holler. I'm going to sit at Mama's grave, and I'm going to go up in Zekefield. She didn't want me to do that
They
today.
gone 3 or 4 hours. I'll be back.
And I tell you what she did. And she don't listen to this podcast anyway, so she'll
Right.
never hear me say
Yeah.
it anyway, unless I listen to it around her. So if you boys.
I'm not saying nothing.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, listen. Don't tell my wife.
Yeah.
But she said, "Yeah, go up there and get you some beer before the ball game."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Actually, I'm just riding up there to get out of the house for a few minutes this morning." And she said, "Yeah, I figured you want you some beer." I was like, because I sit in the house and drink. Look, here's one thing about me: I can't sit in the house and drink beer. Like, it's just not me. Like,
I've got to go out on the porch.
Yeah, it's just If there's a few people at the house, maybe.
Yeah.
But I can't just sit there in front of my kids and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just not me.
Can't do it.
So I was going to maybe go sip on me a couple that morning before the ball game up in Zeke Field on my Rhino.
Yeah.
And she says, I said, matter of fact, Mackie left a whole cooler full on the back of my truck. And if I want to, I have every single one of them. I says, if you're going to act like that about it. So I did. I loaded up that cooler and I went to the Zeke Field.
Had every single
No,
one.
I didn't. I had all but two. And but no, I sit up there in the Zeke Field. And then she texts me and said, "Hey, I'm going to run into Lafayette." And she seemed like she was in a pretty good mood. I get back and she still got that little attitude.
Yeah.
I said, "Well, pissed on this. Ball game's recording." Even though I've been wanting to see it all week. And me and John Godwin had just had a 30-minute conversation while he called me while I was in the Zeke Field. What are you doing? Sitting on the side by side in the middle of nowhere drinking beer. And so I took off again. I said, I ain't going to Zeke Fields. I'm going to Pine Lick this time. I thought about going to Domers.
Yeah.
But I went to Pine Lick, and I just, it was easing down there. I said, and it pissed me off the whole time because there was absolutely no sense in her being so hateful. I wanted to be home watching the ball game the entire time.
But you got stuck on Pine Lick.
But she was kind of being moody, for lack of better terms there.
For political correctness.
For lack of safer terms. And so I go to Pine Lick and, down there on the watershed, down there where everybody plays in the mud, I thought, well, that's solid.
Sunk.
I said, how in the hell did it look so solid? Then it just turned to mush. So I walk up to the hill. This is me being a dumb, smart kid. I walk up top of the hill. I call James Hatcher, of course, because James was right around the curve, basically. And I said, "Hey, man, I'm stuck there in Pine Lick. Bring a rope, something." Before he gets there, I realize I have a winch.
I thought you had. That's what I was going to. I didn't want to say anything, but I could have swore that Rhino had a winch on it.
So I didn't even do it until James got there. I waited, and he goes, "How long of rope you need?" And I said, "I don't. I got a winch." He goes, "Why don't you pull yourself out?" I was like, I figured you was already on your way.
Might as well just wait on you.
So, and you know what? You know what he talked about for 30 minutes to me? Gary Johnson.
Yeah, I seen that coming.
Yeah.
You know what I want to thank you guys for before we shut this thing down?
What?
You guys never bring up nothing about work.
Oh,
about your work day. Yeah. Lucas, I don't even know what you do. I know where Lucas or Dustin works.
That's by design, brother.
That's one thing that you guys do not talk about that I like.
Yeah, that's by design, brother. This is our escape from work.
Who wants to talk about their work day? And I really, really appreciate you guys.
Yes,
for that.
sir. You know what pisses me off the most is those people that you work with that are naggers anyway. And then when you see them at Walmart, and they're like,
they want to talk about work.
And who cares?
Who cares? I'm at Walmart.
Yeah. Those are the people that will break my ankles to go down the third aisle down away from them people.
Yeah.
A guy we worked with passed away. And I was getting out of my truck to go inside, and you're like, "You don't want to go in there. All the upper management's in there, blah, blah, blah." I'm like, "Are you bitching about work?
Who cares?
Did you think they weren't going to be at a man's funeral?"
Right.
I mean, I can't stand it. Work is my release. I'm like one of the young dudes at my work. And
that's one thing you guys have never brought up.
Yeah.
Never.
Again, that's by design, brother.
I mean, you might say, Dustin might say, "Well, yeah, I know this guy from work,"
right.
But you guys never talk about what happened. Guess what happened today with me at work?
Yeah. And we almost quit recording through the week sometimes because we'd be so stressed out from work.
Oh, yeah.
That we didn't feel like we were.
A lot of times, if you don't get a Wednesday night podcast, that's because I've been at work for 12, 14 hours or something like that, and it just ain't going to happen that week.
I've been trying to get Lucas to quit for weeks. The biggest interview we've had, arguably, is the Mike Keith one, and it almost didn't happen because he got called out from work.
I remember that.
I said, "You better tell your wife in there setting some stuff up because I ain't canceling." I said, "You might as well quit that place. I'm about tired of that place anyway."
Well, and you done one. Let's see, what episode was it that Lucas?
This Mike Keith.
That was that was it. Yeah.
So hey, we appreciate the jobs we have.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But
we
don't.
But they don't make it into a recreational time. That's for sure.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Friday at 2:30, I forget where the hell I work.
Yeah.
Till 6 o'clock Monday.
Yeah.
I ain't that guy. I'm not gonna sit here and talk about my company. Hey, I'm proud of the job I've got, but it ain't me. You know, it don't define me.
Yeah.
4:50. I'm telling you, 4:50 of a morning, I'm on my telephone looking at work emails, and then
Lord.
and I work emails. I've been scanning through the podcast to make sure I hadn't got anything that work related, but that's about as far as I go.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me back. I feel like it's been an honor to be a guest on the One Lane Road podcast twice.
Well,
the first time I don't think it counted because I didn't have a microphone.
This one counts, and this one's all you, brother.
This one counts, don't it?
I felt violated at the first one because you dry humped my leg the whole time and whispered in my ear.
Well, we had fun after the podcast was over.
Yeah, I wish I could swim.
We did have a good time though when it was over.
Yeah,
I mean, we hung out there for a couple of hours.
We had a big bunch of visitors come up.
Yeah, we did have a bunch of visitors.
It's hard to.
What do y'all call him? Pretty boy? What was his name?
Oh, Brandon Gregory.
Yeah.
He ain't listened to a podcast. His name was mentioned on 3 probably.
Yeah.
But no, him and Jason, Derek, and that's producer Jace for all of you. Producer of shit. He don't produce nothing. He just comes up there and helps us.
He comes up and stands around.
But I thank you guys, man. I don't know if I hurt you or helped you, but
we appreciate it, bud.
Spread the word and enjoy the love, and I've had a ball tonight. I have.
Well, here's the thing about us is like James mentioned a long time ago. How are you going to call me out for being cocky about myself when you're up there talking? How was it he said it that y'all are naive enough to think that people care about what y'all are talking about? And you're going to say that I'm full of myself?
Yeah.
The thing is, I mean, truthfully, probably these guest shows are some of our biggest shows.
Oh, always. Yeah.
Because people do want to hear, like you're going to tell your buddies and they're going to tell their buddies, and people that don't know what the hell a podcast is going to be trying to figure out how to load it up so they can hear their buddy Shane.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of breaks the monotony up of us trying to come up with, like Lucas says, sometimes we're so burnt out from work. We don't have topics when we come up here sometimes. We're just kind of like shooting from the hip.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to have a guest that wants to be here. And we loved having you. And like I said, it's that's one of the better things to do. That's something that we're looking to do kind of in the future is bringing some guests on. And whether it be people that played 10 years in the NFL or a man that works for the phone company and loves listening to our podcast.
Well, we can have X-Pac on.
Somebody
you still got his number?
I do have his number.
Do you really? Oh my God! Imagine that, Lucas.
Yeah,
still got X-Pac.
I've never used it one time since, but it's in my phone.
I would call him.
Yeah.
I could get Rodney on.
Yeah.
That would be really cool.
That would be
cool.
Awesome. Yeah.
I just wonder if he has the same number though.
Yeah.
That was
all right, everybody. Well, that was this week's episode. We appreciate you coming on, bud. We really appreciate it.
I thank you guys for having me.
Yeah.
This basement don't look as good as that water.
It is what
but
it
is.
It is what it is.
But we got the full effect.
The full effect.
Shane Keith.
Full effect.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Just a reminder, if you guys are on social media, check us out on Twitter at OLR Podcast. Check Lucas out at LG Hickman 21 and myself at DRE Kennedy _83. You can find us on Instagram at OLR Podcast. And on Facebook, we encourage you to like our page, The One Lane Road Podcast.